Italy is truly the land of vines, producing an astonishing quantity of native grape varieties. One of the most popular reds is, of course, Montepulciano, which thrives in the mountainous region of Abruzzo, alongside other indigenous varieties like Trebbiano d'Abruzzo and Pecorino. Today we're going to learn all about what makes Abruzzo wine so interesting, and foodies are going to want to stick around to the end to hear about the region's incredible gastronomy. Thanks for joining me. My name is Jacky Blisson. I am a master of wine and I love teaching people about cool wine regions all around the world. Abruzzo is located in central Italy, due east of Rome. The region stretches between the Apennine Mountains and the Adriatic coast. The region has a fascinating history, but for me, the real excitement is happening now. Over the past 30 years, quality has really skyrocketed, with lots of smaller, independent, terroir-driven producers cropping up, the larger cooperatives really upping their game, and a real focus on sustainable winemaking. Abruzzo has the 7th largest vineyard acreage in Italy, with just under 35,000 hectares of vines. Over half of this is red and rosé wines, about 40% production is of dry white wine, and small amounts of sparkling and dessert wine are also produced here. The vineyards grow in quite a diverse and dramatic landscape. 2/3 of Abruzzo's territory is mountainous. Abruzzo's Gran Sasso Massif includes the Apennines' highest peak, the Corno Grande. As you approach the Adriatic Sea, the landscape gradually flattens to gentle rolling hills. Wine is produced in all 4 of Abruzzo's provinces. Chieti in the southeast is by far the largest. The vineyard terrain here is quite flat, the soils are really rich in clay and fertile, and the wines tend to be more round and supple. Heading northward up the coast, the vineyards of Pescara and Teramo tend to be planted on the hillsides, on clay limestone soils. The wines are often firmer, more structured, and more age-worthy. Finally, L'Aquila is Abruzzo's mountainous interior province. This is really the historic area for winemaking, but is quite small today. The wines are higher in acid, firmer and more mineral, and a regional specialty is a dry rosato called Ceresuolo d'Abruzzo. Abruzzo's climate is quite mild, especially in the coastal areas. During the growing season, the days are very hot, very sunny, but the evenings are cooler due to coastal breezes and cold air coming down from the mountains. This is important because it slows down ripening and allows for great acid retention in the wines. As of 2023, Abruzzo has just one catch-all regional designation, the IGT Terra d'Abruzzo. It also has 7 DOCs and 2 top-tier DOCGs. The most significant of the DOCs is Montepulciano d'Abruzzo, an appellation that is almost entirely dedicated to the Montepulciano grape. This grape must make up at least 85% of the blend. On a side note, the grape has nothing to do with the Tuscan appellation of Vino Nobile di Montepulciano. Montepulciano is a late-ripening, thick-skinned grape. It tends to give wines with bright red and black fruit notes, sometimes earthy, savory undertones, and a hint of tar. If you're looking for a finer expression from a DOC wine, you can look for terms like superiore or reserva. The grapes for these wines must come from 4 top subzones. There are higher requirements in terms of grape ripeness, and longer aging periods are required. The longest aging period is for the reserva tier wines. The Montepulciano grape is also used for a rosé dedicated appellation called Ceresuolo d'Abruzzo. These dry rosato wines are incredibly vibrant, with interesting notes of cinnamon, citrus peel, red fruit. They tend to have a bitter hint, and they're very refreshing and food friendly. For me, the very best drink almost more like a very light red wine than a rosé. Trebbiano d'Abruzzo is the main white wine DOC, and just like its red counterpoint, at least 85% of the wine must be Trebbiano d'Abruzzo or Trebbiano Toscana. So as you may have guessed, Trebbiano is not a single grape variety, but actually a group of grape varieties that share similar characteristics. And according to many experts, Trebbiano d'Abruzzo is the best of the bunch. Trebbiano d'Abruzzo wines can range from very simple, unoaked, crisp, quaffing wines to richer, more textural wines, often with extended lees aging. They tend to have notes of apple, pear, bitter almond, and a really lively, rounded palate. Another DOC that spans the Abruzzo territory is simply called Abruzzo. It is most commonly used for Abruzzo's other white indigenous grape varieties like Pecorino, Passerina, Cocacciola, and Montonico. Pecorino is experiencing a real renaissance at the moment. This is quite an ancient grape variety for the region that was really rediscovered in the 1980s. Pecorino wines can be quite citrusy and tropical, but they tend to have a herbal, mineral undertone. On the palate, they can be quite firm, and the best for me, have a lingering salinity, which is amazing. To wrap up our tour of Abruzzo's appellation, there are 3 smaller ones. In Chieti, there's Ortona and Villamagna, and in Teramo, there's Controguerra. These are really site-specific, quite small appellations that are really gaining a niche following. Abruzzo produces fantastic wines, but also food. The region has 2 protected origins for its olive oil, is famed for its lentils, its truffles, its artichokes, its cherries, its artisanal pasta made from fresh mountain water, its array of cheeses, its lamb, and of course, as a coastal area, its abundance of fish and seafood. The food scene is incredible and a perfect match for the local wines. For some great recipes to try with the different wine styles, check the links in the description. Until next time, salut!